Yeah.
But you had to do it anyway.
Had to do it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you were in Cambodia, and I mean, you weren't in, you were on the border there, weren't you? You were there for about 10 months, you said.
Yes.
And were you assigned to another area, or?
No, I did my time right there. And basically, most of the time I spent in the southern part of our area working two camps, one in Duklap and one in Buprang. And they were hit quite often by the NVA. And my job was to find it was a transportation route. My job was to locate the NVA and see what we could do with them. I would go out and find them, mark the spots.
Did you work alone, or did you?
No, I had some aerial support. And I was the only one. Two of us, was one guy directly from the team and myself. As I was assigned, my assignment was several A teams, so I had 2-3X rather than 2-3-6 or 2-3-9 for my team. And so I would basically, we would go in, and I would get with the intel sergeant for the team, and we would go over what problems they had and where they thought they were having it, and then we would go out in that area and see what we could find. And we try not to drift across the river, because that would have been a no-no.
Oh, okay. And now you enlisted for how long?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years. So you still had 2 more years to...
No, I had a year at Fort Hollenberg.
Oh, that's right. That was part of your training.
Yeah. And then I came back, and I got an early out to join the police department when I came back. So I got out in November or December of 1970. And I was due out in January, so I got a few weeks drop there.
Now, when you were at Fort Hallenberg, would you like to relate some of the experiences that you had there?
Basically I had the control of some troops, and so I was troop handler there, and then I had training, and then I was gone.
That was part of your training.
Yeah, and then I lived off base part of the time. In fact, I was there when the riots in the spring of '68, and they locked the base down.
Oh.
And the woman I was married to at the time came down. I was assigned to integrate an area in the Baltimore area that was later I found out was the head of the home of the Klan in the area. So down in Dundalk, Dundalk. And Dundalk was the base, but it was just outside that area, and there was some housing out there, and nothing eventful happened. In fact, I made friends with some of the people living in the apartment complex. It was
now this was during the time that there were riots in Baltimore.
Right after, yep.
Oh, right after.
Yeah. At the time of the riots, it was the spring, and I didn't move off base until the summer of 1968, I'm sorry, 1968. And then no problems there, social problems.
They didn't want you to get mixed up into anything that had to do with the riots, is that?
When the riots started, the whole base was locked down. No one was allowed off post. So we were just confined there for a while, and they had sufficient food and beverage for everyone, so things were going pretty good, except that there were just a bunch of guys on base because they had a whack attachment, but there weren't that many of them compared to the number of guys. And then a lot of the whacks couldn't go into the NCO club. They couldn't go to the old club, so they had to go to the EM club, and so that broke them down even further. So it was days spent listening to the radio, watching TV, shooting pool, that type of thing, as I recall.
Now, at this time, you were part of the Special Forces.
I was assigned Special Forces en route to Vietnam. I got a sealed envelope on board the plane. I was originally assigned to intelligence unit in Saigon, and I got a sealed envelope. I opened it up, and next thing I know, I'm in Special Forces.
Oh, I see. You didn't know it until that time.
I volunteered that way. Everyone in Special Forces is a volunteer, so that's how I volunteered.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? What you can tell about the Special Forces?
Well, mainly we were involved in working with and training the indigenous population to be self-sufficient, to defend their areas, to go out and reconnoiter. And there were reinforcement troops out of the Special Forces Mike Force, Mobile Strike Force, and they would come to the aid of 8 camps that were under siege if necessary, and several times they came out for assaults on Buprang and Duklop. Both of those camps were hit, I think, 2 or 3 times each while I was working. Buprang took severe damages, and they had to rebuild it one time. Duklop took some pounding, but it remained. But the Mike Force would go in and act as a support because the 8 teams only had 12 guys assigned, U.S. personnel. There were some Vietnamese Special Forces, and then there were the Inditch, which were the Montagnards for the most part. And
did you work with these people?
I did some work with the Montagnard, yeah. The type of work that I did mainly, though, didn't require me to command or anything with them. I just went out and tried to find who was out there, and then I would present the information back at Bamituit, and it was forwarded from Bamituit to Pleiku to SFOB and so forth.
Were they always your friends?
The Montagnards? Oh, yes.
Vietnamese.
The Vietnamese? To my face.
That's what I was trying to get
Yes.
at.
There were a couple of times, and I was working as the NCOIC in the TOC at night, and there was some noises upstairs in the Vietnamese headquarters. And so I went up there and I chased some guy around the base. I'm 16, and he's battle booting it around, trying to keep from getting shot, and I'm trying to shoot him. But it was an internal job, and they had broken into their headquarters of trying to go through the files. And another time there was trying to catch a guy who was signaling, and at night he's out there flashing a flashlight, and then rounds would come in and land over in the Arvin division in Bamituit, and he would signal again and walk him in, I guess. Couldn't catch him.
These are what you call Viet Cong?
They would have been
classified?
I would think they would be called Viet Cong